one with all. We are energy. We are all a part of God or Buddha or Krishna, Allah, anything that you care to call source. We are all divine presence made out of divine beings that everything is, divine energy, unconditional love. We are truth. We are eternal. We have been here forever. We will continue to be here forever, not just the 28,489 days that we walk on this planet. And we are interdependent on all. And those simple truths resonate deep within all of us. The opportunity to spread truth rests with us. For those of us who want to know how that will help change our world, when we spread this symbol, when we start to include rather than exclude and separate, then we will start to pay attention to some simple facts that have always been present. We have always had enough food and water on this planet to help all of our brothers and sisters. We have always had the ability to change the paradigm that we live in and start to live in a way that honors the differences of all cultures, of all people, of all races, of all religions, and at the same time embraces them for what they bring to our world. And we start to change the world of tomorrow for our children, our grandchildren, and our grandchildren's grandchildren. And so that is really how I see the symbol changing the world. And when you see this symbol in Africa, in Uganda, in Sierra Leone, and so many of the countries that it's spread into, this symbol is so important for the people. They have been waiting for this symbol for their entire lives because it symbolizes the recognition that someone knows who they are. And so with that being said, I'd like to say that we are very pleased to have as our guest today Marianne Williamson. And she has certainly been an internationally acclaimed author, teacher, and lecturer of the principles of oneness for many years. She has published 9 books, including a number of New York Times bestsellers. She's been a popular guest on television and radio, including Oprah, Larry King, Good Morning America, and now A Call to Consciousness. Marianne also has a daily radio show on Oprah and Friends, where she shares her reflections on A Course in Miracles. She has been an activist for human transformation since the 80s and continues to help those who are listening to reawaken to their divinity and oneness. She has been involved with food programs in Los Angeles, and she is the founder of the Peace Alliance, which has twice supported legislation for a U.S. Department of Peace. Marianne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
You know, before we get started, I would love to hear, and so would the listeners, some of your background. What was your life growing up? Where were you born?
Well, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. And when I started college, it was in 1970. And so, you know, high school was late 60s, early 70s into college. And everybody was at that time really opening up not only to all the progressive political things that were happening, but also the progressive spiritual things. People were looking into Eastern religion, and we were all doing the I Ching and tarot cards and reading the Western philosophers as well. So it was a very rich and fertile time of exploration. And when that phase sort of stopped, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of one way to put it. That aspect of the sort of hippie world never ended for me. I mean, it ended for me stylistically, but something in my head, it never stopped feeling right to me. Mm-hmm. And then in 1977, I first saw A Course in Miracles. Before that, I had been very affected by the Seth books by Jane Roberts. Mm-hmm. First Seth Speaks, and then The Nature of Personal Reality. And I don't think anybody goes to A Course in Miracles as their first exposure to serious metaphysics. Everybody gets there having been somewhere else first, it seems to me. And for me, it was really the Seth books that had already grounded me in the realization that your mind and your thoughts create your experience of your experience. So once I saw The Course in Miracles, I was really, I knew that this path was for me. So that was in 77. And then in 1983, when I moved to Los Angeles, I began giving talks on The Course in Miracles at a place called the Philosophical Research Society in the Los Feliz area of L.A. Mm-hmm. And I began giving these lectures, and it just so happened, serendipitously,